Hey, what's going on, everyone? Lauren Sisler here with AL.com. It is early signing day. I know, hard to believe it. We had it circled on our calendars, December 16th, and Auburn bringing in their 2021 recruiting class. And here to talk about it, we got Tom Green hanging out to give us the scoop on what's going on for this recruiting class today. Auburn entered the day with 12 commits and the nation's number 45 signing class. That, of course, according to 24/7 Sports team rankings there. And I guess the expectation, as you mentioned in your notes, was that all 12 of those commits probably not going to sign today. But first and foremost, I just want to get your thoughts on this unique day, because obviously we found out on Sunday that Auburn head football coach Gus Malzahn had been relieved of his duties. Kevin Steele, now the interim coach, and obviously a new head coach not being named now. So how does this very unique in that situation and bringing guys in and trying to solidify some of these recruits that could easily just say, there's a lot of uncertainty, don't know if I want to do this?
Yeah, no, it's certainly unique. I think I looked it up the other day, but since the early signing period was implemented in 2017, a Power 5 program has never gone into the early signing period with an interim head coach. Part of that is just because of the nature of this, really unusual year. Usually, if Auburn had made a coaching change, it would have been 2 weeks earlier because its season would have ended after the Iron Bowl around Thanksgiving weekend. So they would have had, 2.5 weeks to, get their search done, get a new staff in place, and try to salvage the recruiting class. But obviously that's not the case this year. They've got the rest of the staff sticking around for the time being with Kevin Steele as the interim head coach, and really just trying to hold this class together, though they've been able to pick up a couple guys today too.
Yeah, so obviously I'd be interested in kind of being a fly on the wall and understanding what those conversations are like. And, to your point, there have been some guys that have committed, some heavy hitters and expectations of guys sticking around and saying, I'm gonna commit to Auburn. This is where, my heart's been, and I'm sticking with it regardless of the direction this program is heading in the future. I feel confident in it. And so, yeah, take me through the signing class and some heavy hitters, guys that we should be on the lookout for.
Yeah, well, Auburn has signed 9 players already, 8 high school kids, plus they got former All Big 12 tight end Grant Calcaterra transferring out of Oklahoma. Of the 8 guys that they've signed, or of the other guys that they've signed, all but 2 of them were already committed to the class. I think the biggest thing for them is, they were able to keep their 3 highest rated commits and get them signed today. Lee Hunter out of Blount, Mari Harvey, a safety out of Tallahassee, Florida, and Demetrius Davis, the dual threat quarterback out of Texas. I think it's, really, impressive that they've not only been able to, not lose any commitments today, but they've been able to sign some of these guys early despite all the uncertainty with the coaching staff. And just to be able to add on to that class too, they got, a 3-star defensive back, Armani Diamond out of Blount as well. He's teammates with Lee Hunter. And they picked up a 3-star defensive end, Ian Matthews out of Columbus, Georgia, just across the border. Just a 3-star guy, but, he's 6'5", 290 pounds. So he's certainly got a frame that whatever coaching staff ends up being there can certainly work with and kind of mold him. So really curious to just see how the rest of this signing class shakes out. But really, I think one of the biggest takeaways is the fact that they've been able to hang on to guys. They've been able to add a couple more. Obviously, not everybody's signing, but I know a lot of people made a lot of ado about Auburn's class being ranked in the 40s coming into the day. But when you look at their average commit ranking now, between the guys that they've got committed and the guys that they've picked up today, their class tracks in a top 20 class right now. So there's obviously still room to improve on that. But I think they've done a pretty good job of keeping this group together as is, given the circumstances.
Yeah, and would you consider that to be one of the bigger surprises of the day, the fact that they've been able to keep these guys intact?
I think it certainly can be considered a success for this coaching staff or the interim coaching staff, really. Like you said, just a lot of uncertainty. You fired the head coach, 3 days ago. You don't know who's going to be the head coach at this time. A lot of these guys don't know if they're going to be playing for Kevin Steele still. They don't know if they're going to be playing for any of the guys on the offensive side. So there's a lot of uncertainty there. But, one of the things that you always hear people say is, pick the school, not the coach. Because there's nothing, binding these coaches to any of these schools. They can be fired, they can leave for another job. So, you often hear people telling recruits, pick a place you feel like you're going to be happy at for 3 to 4 years, regardless of who's going to be in charge.
No doubt about it. And before we let you go, Tom, just wanted to get your thoughts on sort of the greatest needs for this Auburn football team and how you think that through today's commitments, at least today's, or, guys that you think will commit between now and February, how those needs have been met.
Well, I think, the biggest need for this team still is just developing depth on that offensive line. And that's something that they've not addressed yet today. 4-star offensive lineman Jaden Roberts, who's teammates with Demetrius Davis over in Houston. He's still committed, but he's going to hold off until February to sign now. That was a little bit of a surprise because everybody thought he was going to sign today. Harvard grad transfer Eric Wilson's also holding off. He's a guy that can afford to hold off because he only has 1 year left. So, it's really in his best interest to wait around and see what's going to happen with the coaching staff. But really, addressing that offensive line remains the biggest need for this team.
All right, Tom Green, we appreciate your insight. As always, Kevin Steele will be addressing the media here at 1 o'clock Central Time. So, of course, I know you'll be getting some notes on that. Tune into AL.com for Tom Green's updates on all the signing day, the latest as more news comes down from Kevin Steele and later in the day. And we'll get that interview or press conference posted as well. So, Tom, we appreciate you as always, and we'll check in with you soon.